Talks once again Thursday. Good morning. Good morning. All right, going to have a great conversation this morning. Going to be kind of quick, y'all. We got a hard stop at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. I will be on the road shortly after this, going to the Atlanta Black Business Institute. All right, it is 8:31. The Atlanta Black Business Institute starts around 1 o'clock, 1:30. I'll be making the opening remarks at the Atlanta Black Business Institute. That'll be at Emory University. Get my printout here. All right. There we go. All right, it is 8:31 still. We're about to get started, everyone. About to get started. Thank you for coming in. Look over these notes. All right, it's a lot going on out there, y'all. A lot going on out there. All politics are local. I know we concentrate or really talk more about the federal level. So when we get to the comments question section, please make your local comments and let's talk about local politics. I've been pulled a lot to that national level. All right, y'all. It is 8:32 a.m. Welcome to another Thursday Public Policy Talks, where we talk about public policy as it relates to you, Black business owners, and definitely Black consumers. We got to definitely keep those Black consumers in here. This is National Black Business Month. National Black Business Month. Let's continue to celebrate our National Black Business Month. John Templeton is the father of the movement of the National Black Business Month. Great guy, lives out in the San Francisco area. He spent the actual several days with us during the month last year. So shout out to John Templeton. We got a survey going in the chat. All about contracting. Just taking a poll on contracting. Are you registered in SAMS? And just a few other questions. It'll take you just a couple of moments to answer those questions. Raquel, thank you so much. Raquel is behind the scenes helping me. Thank you so much. That's on the screen now. Take that survey while we're going through this process. We just want to collect data. We're all about surveying. We're all about data when it comes to advancing Black businesses. We have our DC fly-in coming September the 12th through the 15th. That's during the Congressional Black Caucus annual conference. DC will be quite exciting due to the national election, due to the presidential election this year. So we have 2 or maybe 3 more slots. 2 or maybe 3. It could be less than that. Now it could be 1. It could be closed down, but you can go to the Eventbrite that is going to be put in the chat if you want to go with us. We've actually just settled on the schedule. Right now we have a somewhat of a hard schedule now. We'll be getting off the plane that morning, going directly to the U.S. Black Chambers Policy Breakfast / brunch. I'm going to have a great time there and hear from Ron Busby, the U.S. Black Chambers president, and several elected officials will be in the house, along with some corporate sponsors of the organization will be in the house. We'll be talking about policy as it relates directly to you as Black business owners. From there, we're going directly over to the Capitol. We'll be meeting with some of our Georgia delegation. And I will say it's been tough pulling our Georgia delegation this year because it's so much going on, but we will be able to talk to some of them, and we may be going to a reception to actually talk to some of them. We'll be leaving there, going to the hotel and register for the conference. Friday, we'll be attending the conference the entire day. We broke the day up that Friday last year, and we did not get a chance to spend a lot of time at the conference because we had a couple of events outside of the conference. But Friday is all about the conference. Friday night, we will have a dinner at one of the top restaurants in DC, Charlie Palmer Restaurant, where we'll hear from our very own Ron Busby. The U.S. Black Chambers will address us along with the National Bankers Association. Nicole Elam will address us also. So we're going to have a great time at the restaurant. And then we'll be going to the Black Party. That's an event put on by the CBC's Foundation. We'll be going to the Black Party that night. And also, there's going to be several other events that we'll be attending. One of the biggest events I know we attended outside of the conference was the Ohio River Group Day Party. They have a great team over there. We love working along with the Ohio River Group. Thank you so much to the leaders over there. Also, there'll be a couple of other Georgia-based parties or social events going on that we will be attending. So a lot going on networking on Swole. The expo, they have an expo at the conference. That will be filled with vendors. It would be filled with all of the departments will be represented there of the United States government. More than likely, they will have some information about contracting, about doing business with those departments. You'll enjoy that expo. So looking forward to the DC fly-in. We also will be more than likely, hope we will be able to get with the Georgia, work with the Georgia Chamber of Commerce. They will be arriving on the 12th for their DC fly-in, and which we're working out where we can at minimum attend their reception. After the Capitol visit, we'll be working or actually talking with Chris Clark, the president and CEO of the Georgia Chamber. So looking forward to that. Again, the Atlanta Black Business Institute, I'll be making the opening remarks at the Atlanta Black Business Institute on the campus of Emory University, the business school. It's brought to you by the Caucus of Emory Black Alumni, and also in a partnership with the National Black MBA Association Atlanta chapter. So looking forward to being there later today. If you're going to be there, hey, hold your hands up for a quick second if you're going to be there. Definitely would love to see some of you there. You're going to hear me talk about Black business data. I'm going to talk about Black community data and do somewhat of a similar presentation that I put on a couple of months ago right here on this show. We're going to get down and then we're going to mix that with public policy and how we should be participating in public policy based on the data. We're going to talk about data-driven solutions, and that's what we talk about here. We try to take the politics out of it as much as possible because of where we are as a Black business community. Just a reminder, there's what I called a racial business gap of about 505,000. That's the variance between the average revenue of our businesses, which is sitting at the lower 60,000 range, whereas white businesses are sitting around almost $600,000 in average revenue. And that's what I call the racial business gap. That racial business gap, have you heard me talk about, has been created really by public policy. And I've talked about that. I know that's a long stretch. It's a lot to say before I say it was created by public policy. And I'm going to explain some of that at the Black Business Institute on today. But thank you for completing that, the survey on contracting. I do see some of you are definitely registered in SAMS. That's one of the first steps of getting a governmental, really a federal contract, even though we have focused on the state level contracts, and both of them, the levels of Black business participation is under 2%. I had some good conversations with you about that, private conversations. Paul and I have had some great conversations around that. I was at the SBA office, the Georgia office, on yesterday with several other organizations, talking to the advocacy area or the advocacy section of the SBA. We received a report from the attorneys of the SBA. We talked about several areas around AI. We talked about USDA's involvement in the SBA. And I do want to mention on June the 31st, 2024, USDA announced the Discrimination Financial Assistance Program, which awarded a total of $2 billion have been made to 43,000 farmers, ranchers, forest landowners whose applications reporting discrimination were eligible under the program. So that covers the Black farmers. You may have seen that in the news, but at the end of this past month, the discrimination financial assistance program with the awards totaling over $2 billion. So Black farmers are getting some relief, some long needed relief for Black farmers around America. We could go into that Black farmers and how much land that we owned back in the early 1900s to the 20s, and compared to the millions of acres that we lost. A lot of that had to do with the USDA and the participation along those time periods of this discrimination that was going on, that was put on by our USDA and local officials and so forth. So there's a history that we must acknowledge in this America when we talk about the participation in this public policy process with the laws and rules and regulations that have come down over the past many, many years, because it has greatly affected us. And that goes to my point that I just made of that racial business revenue gap. A lot of that was due to how we participated, how the reaction of the systemic racism affected us in a very, very negative way. So, what time is it? Because I don't want to talk too much. I definitely want to hear from you. We have a hard stop at 9 a.m., a hard stop at 9 a.m. I do want to bring up the name Sonya Massey. I'm sure you've heard it on the news. You've seen it on the news. What happened to Sonya Massey with the police case. Sonya Massey called the police to her home due to a disturbance, and you all know what happened. And you've probably seen that video, and that should never, ever happen to any Black woman, any Black man, or really any person in America. But that continues to happen in America to us, and it's first and on Front Street, y'all. I mean, y'all probably saw the video. That's not a good thing. It's not a good look. We need to stand up for supporting what's going on with that Sonya Massey case, and we definitely need to speak out. Definitely need to speak out about that. So I wanted to mention that as we continue to follow that case. Also, I was really wanting to talk more about the economic agenda of Vice President Harris, but as you know, or may have heard, she is coming out with her economic agenda. From what I understand from the news media on tomorrow, there could be a press conference. There's going to be something similar about it. So play close attention to that economic agenda that the VP is going to roll out. I'm definitely looking forward to hearing that and looking to really hear some exciting news about it. And when I hear that, when I hear more about it and read about it, I am going to compare that to uh, the survey of consumer finances. The survey of consumer finances, it talks about the amount of wealth that's in America. And I've come down to the fact that I want to know if the economic policy is going to affect the racial wealth gap or not. That I'm a simple cut and dry after doing research over the last 7, 8, really 9 years about why do we have the racial wealth gap? Why do our communities look so different than white communities? Why does South Atlanta area look different than the Buckhead area? Why is that? What can we do to close that gap? What can we do to make our communities all over this land, from Macon to Memphis to all of those cities, our communities look totally different when it comes to the makeup of the community, how it looks, the boarded up buildings versus nice areas with shopping centers and all. You don't see that a lot within our inner cities, and that the reason for that is our issues are not truly being addressed when it comes to public policy. So think about that as we look at the VP's economic agenda. Is that going to start the process of healing our community with public policy? So you're going to hear me talk a lot about it, give you a lot of pushback, and give the system a lot of pushback on how public policy should really affect us. Because over the 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years almost that I've been doing research in and around public policy as it relates to our community, when we talk about policies that are general, policies that are for all, policies that are for minorities, we tend to lose in those situations when it comes to economic agendas, when it comes to all. So I am looking for this agenda to be related to our community, to address some of the issues within our Black business community. That's what I am looking for. I am very selfish when it comes to that. You, as a Black business owner, as a member of the Black community, should be very selfish because the numbers are against us. When I say the numbers are against us, that racial wealth gap, the racial business gap, has a lot to do with public policy, and that's the main purpose that it's there. For my research over the last many years, public policy created, this situation that America is in right now, and it definitely created the situation that we're in for the Black community. And public policy has to get it out. That's what we're talking about. Public policy. This is Public Policy Talks, and that's what we're going to talk about. So the time is 8:46. I want to open the show. Hey, raise your hand if you want to make some comments about what I talked about local politics, about national politics. What do you want to talk about? I know I've heard from some of you, and you said, hey, we don't have enough time to make some comments. I wanted to open it up early today, but we do have a hard stop at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. What's going on? We got another temperature check. Thank you, Raquel, for putting that up. We got another survey going right here. I know last week I did a little pushing and shoving, and definitely let's hear from you. Tracy Green, what's going on? Hey, show yourself if you want to, Tracy, if you can. Turn on that camera.
I'm sorry, I can't show myself today, but just on the item that you just talked about in regards to how our communities look different from other communities. I came back to a community that I hadn't been in a very long time. I think we also have to worry about, because you say it looks different, we have to worry about, I think, also about protecting our business owners. I think there's a lot of things that are happening in our communities where some of our business owners don't feel safe in the community and they don't want to open businesses. So I think we have to look at that too when we start talking about why we're so different. I think we have to work on protecting our business owners. So that's just one thing I see, because it is different. A lot of buildings are boarded up. Everything is gone because, a lot of crime is in the community. So we have to figure out too how to protect our business owners.
All right. Thanks a lot, Tracy. That great comments. We definitely have to protect our business owners within our community. I do want to spit out some, you just made me think about some stats with crimes in our community. 70% of the crimes in our community are crimes of poverty. I think that if you solve the poverty issues in our community, you can solve a lot of the crimes in our community. So I just want to point that out, that 70% of the crimes in our community are crimes of poverty, people trying to eat. And it shouldn't be that way. I definitely know we definitely need to protect our Black business owners, but you saw poverty in our community. You saw poverty last time I checked, about just over 20% of our community is living in poverty, where just under 9% of the white community is living in poverty. So, hey, there's another gap right there. And what I'm saying is we want to be a normal community. If the white community has 9%, we should be at 9%. But there's a reason why. If you look at all those disparities out there, we're generally at the low end of the totem pole when it comes to that. And that attributes a lot to what's going on in our community. We talk about equality? Well, let's have some equality in every aspects of America. Montina Young Frazier, what's going on?
Hey, Markee. Hello, everybody. Good morning. So thanks for always sharing this great information. I just wanted to point out 3 things for us. And also noting that I am the government affairs chair. So Hayden and I, who's my co-chair, Hayden Singleton, will be working alongside with Markee and starting our meetings. And our mission and goal is to help you all understand how to sit on government boards. So we have a very unique mission in this space. I know I love local politics. So first thing is, Make sure that you put on your voter registration card and understand which precincts and districts that you're in. Even for me, I thought my state rep was one state rep. Our district was, we were redistrict. And so now I have a new state rep and I wasn't actually aware of it. So make sure you put on your voter registration card, understand which districts you're in for your Senate, for your counties. Like it's a lot. The second thing is sign up for email updates from your county website, whatever county you reside in. Because I recently went to a town hall and we're putting a bus route down in Henry County, and I was the only citizen out of 245,000 citizens in my county that was there. And I actually felt sorry for them government employees. Like literally, I was the only person in the room that could provide feedback, ask questions, give updates, and they actually asked for my questions afterwards. So again, if you aren't in the know, you can't show up. So if you sign up for updates from your county website, typically you'll be in the know about events. So those are just the three things I wanted to mention today.
Thank you, Martina. Thanks so much. As she stated, she is the chair, the new chair of the Governmental Affairs, and one of the main focuses is going to be placing our membership base on local boards, local and state boards. So we're looking forward to that process, everyone. Also, I want to announce the State of Black Farmers event is in the newsletter this morning from the ABC. Thank you, Melvin. August the 28th at 6 p.m. That information is in the newsletter. Also, the ABC Governmental Affairs Committee putting on a What Do You Need to Know to Be Vote Ready? What do you need to know about being vote ready? That's on Thursday, August the 29th at 6 p.m. with the wonderful Helen Butler, hosted by our very own Dr. Diane Daniels Adoma. So anybody else have any comments? It is 8:52. We're 8 minutes before we have a hard stop. Have anybody else? I see the one camera come on. That is Nicole Bradley.
I had one question. You mentioned the poverty numbers for Blacks among and compares to white. How do we stack up against other minority groups? Do you have that information?
I don't have that information readily available, and I can't recite that information, but it's definitely lower than 70%. Because if you look at the Survey of Consumer Finances, the Hispanic community is a similar wealth. And look at the other community, which is a big makeup of the other community, is the Asian community. It's actually much higher than us. When you look at the income levels, we're at the bottom of the income levels. You look at the business levels of, just like I was looking at some information from the Atlanta Wealth Building Institute, and it talked about in the city of Atlanta, where the average income for Blacks is $28,000, and that was much lower than the other groups. So you're going to have a poverty rate that's going to be much lower. You have the Hispanic and Latino community that many of them come from developing countries. Many of them send back money by way of remittances to their home countries, and that's in the billions a month. And when that dollar goes to other countries such as Mexico and South America, the dollar, is higher in value. So that money means a lot more for those communities than it does, because we don't have any money to send in numbers like that. So it's much different. So wish I could answer your question directly, but I'll look up those numbers, see what those numbers are. I generally, I'm so selfish, and I'm so tuned towards the Black community that have so much passion for that. I do look at the makeup of other communities and know a lot about the other communities, but I can't readily recite those numbers in the other community.
Markee, can I jump in real quick? Because
yes,
Nicole brings up a topic that I think is very important, and we should be paying attention to it. The trajectory of the Hispanic community is they are already surpassing us in some key categories. So you should know that. And then you should ask yourself, well, why are they now starting to outperform us? And if this trend continues, where we will remain at the bottom and others will continue to ascend. They have some cultural advantages because of the language barrier. So they're going to do business with each other within that community. It's more of a close-knit thing. That language thing actually supports them sticking together. But yes, the trend is such that they are starting to outperform us in key categories. And I do pay attention to that because I think that's relevant. So I just wanted to put that in there, and thank you, Nicole, for putting that on the table this morning.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Melvin. I also want to add, there's a book out called Making Hispanics, Baking of the Hispanic Community. Very good book. So to understand about the Hispanic community, there's several books out there. There's one about the Irish community and the making of the Irish. There's one on the Italians, and there's one on the Asian Americans. There's even a couple of books out about the Japanese internment camps and how they receive reparations in America, and the makeup of how they actually carve together their own space when it comes to there's also a movement. You heard me talk about the lineage-based solutions from the ADOS Advocacy Foundation started that conversation. The Asian Americans, along with many of us, including myself, made public comments to the Office of Management and Budget about the need to disaggregate our community when it comes to race in America. So a lot of conversations going on about other communities, about what we're doing as a community. And a lot of that has to do with the DEI that's going on, because I really truly think we lose when it comes to DEI, even though I think we should definitely fight for DEI. I know Robert Johnson and I had a great conversation. Robert, I don't know if you out there had a chance to look at the list, but we actually talked about pulling together a dinner or a function. We're also looking at the debate is September the 10th, y'all. September the 10th. We're looking to partner with or push an event for the debate party, or even look at the possibilities of having our own debate party on September the 10th. So, Henry, what's going on, Henry?
Hey, good morning. Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I couldn't help but chime in on what you guys are just talking about with the Hispanic community. I have a Hispanic client. I've done 4 festivals with this client, tequila festivals. One of our biggest ones was at the Braves Stadium. But I talk about this a lot because I spend a lot of time with my Hispanic partners. I'm actually part of one of the supporter groups that's Hispanic. But the one thing that the Hispanic community has is agriculture. And that one plant, the agave plant, fuels the economy in their entire community. From that one plant, they're creating tequila, which helps them create restaurants and creates this ecosystem. And I was just talking to somebody the other day. You don't hear about the Hispanic community when it comes to food deserts. You know, if you live in Gwinnett, there's so many farmers markets in Gwinnett. There's so many supermercados in Gwinnett. The Hispanic community, and you said a lot of them come from developing countries. They're not so codependent upon Europeans like we are. And so even though they were forced into not being so codependent, it has actually helped them in a lot of ways. So they don't have food deserts. They have this one, plant that fuels their economy, agave. So I think those are some of the, I think really our codependence upon Europeans is more so why we're in these situations than anything. I don't think it is as much policy as it is some other areas that we just need to be honest with ourselves about. So I just wanted to share that.
All right. Thanks a lot for those comments, Henry. Really appreciate that. It's a lot going on out there in all of our communities, y'all. But I know one thing about it is we have a certain history, a certain experience in America that no other group has experienced. When you start out, similar to how we started out in this country, you're somewhat different. And we're a special, resilient group of people, y'all, and we should be treated that way. So here we are in 2024. The time is 8:59. We have one more minute. I know there's a lot going on in the chat. I haven't been able to look at the chat that much. But Raquel, anything in the chat we need to talk about? Because I know it's a lot in the chat. I know
someone is asking for clarification of when the event starts that you're speaking at, if it's noon or 1:30.
I know that I am going on at 1:30 to 2:15. It may be a 1 o'clock start. Raquel, are you able to put that in the chat, that Eventbrite, if that's still open? I know Carl sent me the information. I don't know if I could get to it as quick, but I know it's not 12 noon. Registration starts at 11:30. I do remember that time. And they open the room somewhere around that 12:30, 12:45. But if we could get that in the chat, that would be great, and go from there. Sorry, I don't have that specific information. All right. Anything else in the chat, Raquel?
That's what's, because I've been back here looking for the flyer. That was the one thing. A lot of good conversation going on.
Hey, it's Hayden here. Hayden Singleton. It starts at 1:30, and I'm about to post the flyer now.
Thanks, Hayden.
Okay.
No
Thanks,
problem.
Hayden. Really appreciate that.
No problem.
All right, everyone. It is 9:01. Thank you for joining Thursday's Public Policy Talks. I'll see some of you at the event coming up. Looking forward to, again, seeing the economic agenda of VP Harris. I know some of you should be eager for that. This will be her first strong policy front. So looking forward to that information, whether it comes out later today or tomorrow. But stay tuned to the next Thursday Public Policy Talks. Thank you, everyone, for coming in. Y'all have a good rest of the day, a wonderful weekend, and see y'all sometime soon. All right, y'all. Tish, how you doing? What's going on?
Thank you,
Hey,
Montana.
all right, what's going on? I can see some of y'all out there. All right, Akita
Amazing
Patterson.
job per usual, Markee. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Laura. Appreciate you sending that capability statement. Hey,
Good
y'all.
morning, Markee.
Yes.
Good morning.
Hey,
Good
good
job,
morning, Tish.
Markee.
All right.
Hey, good
Hey, y'all
morning,
send
Markee.
those capability statements. All right, Jules, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm going to post up in a little while there's Women's Equality Day coming up. So for all your women leaders, this is to talk about the 28th Amendment and women getting enshrined in the U.S. Constitution. That should be a part of your policy talk, because that's a huge return on investment for many Black homes and many Black businesses, when women will be allowed to have equal pay and they can have more robust conversations. So put that on your radar, that especially for the women on and the men and women on this group, that conversation is about to start jumping up as we head into Women Equality Day coming up in a couple of weeks. So I'll put that out there, but I'll send you a post more information. But this is a huge economic conversation about how do we talk about women without talking just about their sexuality? How do we talk about women economics? So that's coming up, and that's probably something that might resonate with some of your viewers, but those talks are going to start sparking in probably next couple of weeks.
All right. Thank you, Jules. Really appreciate the information. Look forward to getting that.
Thank you.
More about it. All right. All right, y'all.
Thanks, Markee.
All right. Have a great one. Let's see here. All right, y'all. We're out. It is 9:03. We're running about 3 minutes behind. Sometimes